Hello and welcome back. I thought as we're now into October, or Preptober as most people on AuthorTube seem to be calling it at the moment, I would talk to you about different ways in which I have come up with ideas for stories, just in case you're struggling to get the plot bunnies hippity-hoppeting in the right direction for NaNoWriMo, which is of course next month. Scary. I still don't know exactly what I'm going to write. I've got a couple of ideas, but I'm not too worried at this point. I've done it enough times where I've gone, I don't know what I'm writing, and still managed to churn out something. So let's jump right in. So the first book I tried writing when I was about 16, I got an idea for because I was walking to sixth form in this long coat, and the wind was blowing, and it was blowing it open behind me, and I had this idea in my head about a guy walking across the courtyard with his cloak blowing behind him in the wind. And I didn't know the first thing about writing a book at this point, so I got home and I opened my word processor and I just put in that first line, and then I wrote the next line and the next one and the next one. I didn't have any regularity or routine with my writing, so it's probably not surprising that after about 3 chapters I got stuck and then didn't open it again. And then when I wrote my first nano novel, I did some research. I got on the forums, I had a look around, and I thought, right, I need to know what I'm writing about. And I was really into novels like Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice, and there's another one I'd read recently at that time, and I can't remember what it's called now, but a very similar idea, where there's a vampire telling you their life story. And I thought, oh, I really like novels like that. What can I write? And I thought about writing one about a werewolf, sort of similar vein, how they became a werewolf, how they discovered. And I remembered there's a piece of Sicilian folklore about anyone born under a new moon would be a werewolf. Interesting factoid, I was born under a new moon. And I went with that idea, and I came up with a main character, and I came up with some friends for her, and I went from there. Didn't really plot it out too much because I was really struggling to work out what was going to happen, and my partner at the time just said, oh, just start writing it and see what happens. So I did. Since then I have got a little bit, I've figured out how I write best, and that's to just get a vague idea, sit down and go for it. So some of the ways I've got these random ideas. When I was younger, I had a calendar. It was sort of wizards and dragons or something like that. One of the pictures and one of the months stuck with me, and I wanted to do some fan art based around it because I was really into drawing at the time. But now I think I might turn it into a story at some point. It was a picture of a wizard. I won't tell you too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything if I do write it. But there was something about that picture, like, oh, that's interesting, I could do something with that. So go have a look at other people's pictures. Don't steal exactly what they've done, but have a look at the little details in the background and think, oh, that's interesting, I could do something with that, which is what I did with this one. One of the interesting ways I've come up with ideas is I've recently wrote a piece for the stage for my drama group because we had a writing workshop. And it's going to be performed in December, hopefully, the social distancing allows. And the idea for that came from, I was doing a different writing course ages ago and had to write a sort of 200-word short story. And I said, turn on the radio, the first thing you hear, write a story about that. That's a bit weird. Turned on the radio, it was gardener's question time or something, and there was a guy talking about growing vegetables. And I ended up writing a piece about a guy who finds his late mother's recipe for carrot cake, makes a carrot cake, then grows some carrots, then some more vegetables, and I'm not going to tell you what happens next because, like I said, it's being performed and I don't want to spoil anything. But yes, went from there. I've also written another novel for another nano about based on the song Marry Me by Emily Autumn, which if you haven't heard, I'll link it below. It's about a girl who's being forced into a loveless marriage, but it's like, oh, it won't be all bad because he's rich and I'll be able to afford all these pretty things. So I wrote about a woman in the 18th century who'd been in that situation, and then her a descendant finding some of the letters that she'd written at the time about how unhappy she was. For the short story anthology, which was organised by the lovely Orla Hart, and I will again link her down below, she gave us the theme of 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, what can you do with 5 minutes? And the first thing I did was get online and have a look at some writing prompts. And one of the prompts that came up, which I didn't use in the end, I did something different, was what happens if someone gets stuck in an elevator with someone else? And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And then I had a group of characters got stuck in an elevator for 5 minutes, and what do they talk about? Where are they going? I ended up not using that because I had a better idea, and I went with the Selkie story. And the idea for that, I'd been wanting to write about Selkies for ages. I just didn't have an idea. And then I heard a news article about selfie seekers have been disturbing seals by trying to get close to them to take a selfie on some of the UK beaches. And I completely misheard this and thought that selkie seekers had been disturbing seals. So the cogs started turning. It's like, oh, someone go... And I came up with what I did. Which, if you haven't heard, go check that one out as well, because it's quite good. And go check out the other stories, they're also really good. And a lot of people also swear by character-driven stories, and I agree with that. Sometimes if I've got a vague idea for the sort of thing I want to do, I like people watching, and I have found I was trying to come up with a more concrete idea from a little nubbin I had. And I was on the bus on my way home, and I looked up and I saw a woman and I was like, yes, that is my main character. And I sort of made a mental note of what she looked like and what she was wearing, and that woman, who I didn't even talk to, I just saw her on the bus, became my main character. So yeah, you can do that. You just go to the cafe, watch who comes in, what they're buying, where they're going, what they're doing. And another idea I have tucked away in my brain somewhere happened from a dream I had. I just woke up and thought, oh, that was a really good idea. And I scribbled down some rough notes so I'd remember. And I haven't actually written anything with it yet, but I might do something with it in the future because it's got some interesting things that I can use. And that's really all it comes down to. It's just finding that little nugget and then expanding it and going, oh, that's a good idea, but what if? And that's how I usually come up with ideas. I just take the tiniest idea and I go, what if? So that's all I've really got to say today. I'm sorry if this was a little bit of a waffle. I did try and write some notes, and I'm not sure that I actually stuck to them. I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. But if you found this at all helpful, please leave me a thumbs up, please leave me a comment. Tell me how you get your ideas, because I'm really curious. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye. Oh, of course, the sun's got in. Now my face looks weird because it's all in shadow. You, off of there. You are being a little minx. Yes, I know you're a little wriglet. There you go. I'm waffling. I should stop and rethink this a little bit. Going to adjust the blinds. Yeah, mummy, let the sunshine in. That's too bright. It's about yes, it's there are so many ways you can get ideas, and I thought I'd just talk about. I'm waffling again. And I didn't know the first thing about writing a book. I didn't.
Nothing's changed there then.